I never cared about the money. That's what I tell myself over and over again, sitting in the back row of the wood-paneled estate office, pretending I can't hear my mother's fake laugh or the way my father clicks his expensive pen every time the lawyer pauses. My name is Mara Donovan. I'm 26, and I've never felt more like a stranger in my own family. This isn't some tragic melodrama. I didn't grow up poor or unloved. No, my parents made sure the world saw a picture-perfect household. Luxury cars, charity galas, expensive education, but there were two Donovans. The chosen one, my older brother Dylan, and the mistake they never wanted to admit they had, me. It's been that way since I was born. Dylan was the golden child, groomed to take over Dad's business empire. I was the quiet one who liked books, art, and asking too many questions. My mom always said I was too emotional. My dad used to look through me like I was a smudge on his perfect world. The only person who really saw me, was Grandpa James. He used to call me his wild card, said I reminded him of himself when he was younger, unpredictable, fierce, curious. He taught me how to play chess and told me that silence is often the loudest move you can make. He listened when no one else did. And when he got sick last year, he asked me to visit him. Just me. No parents, no Dylan. I knew he was hiding something. I just didn't know how big it was. So here I sit now, hands folded in my lap as the lawyer clears his throat and begins reading Grandpa's final wishes. The tension in the room thickens with every word. To my grandson Dylan Donovan, the lawyer reads, I leave my vintage car collection and $2 million in liquid assets. Dylan, sitting up front next to my father, smirks. My mom dabs her eyes with a tissue she hasn't used yet. The lawyer continues. To my son, Charles, and daughter-in-law, Grace, I leave the Lakewood property and trust control of the family foundation. My dad leans back, smug. My mother squeezes his hand. Then the lawyer looks down at the final envelope. And to my granddaughter, Mara Donovan, silence. Even the air stills. I leave this. He lifts a check out of the envelope, crisp, official, and very real, made out to me. $38 million. I hear someone inhale sharply. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's all of us. But before I can even move, my father stands up. This must be a mistake. He snaps. No, the lawyer replies coolly. Mr. James Donovan amended the will himself 3 months ago. Witnessed. Notarized. This check is legally binding. My mother rises now, her voice a dangerous mix of sugar and venom. This is absurd. She doesn't know the first thing about managing that kind of money. What was he thinking? He was thinking, I say. Finally finding my voice, that maybe someone besides the golden boy deserved a shot. That's when it happens. My father walks over to the lawyer, snatches the check out of his hands. I freeze. Don't. But he already has his lighter out. Flick. Flame. No, I yell, lunging forward. But it's too late. The paper curls, blackens, and turns to ash before it hits the office floor. My mother lets out a satisfied hum. There. Problem solved. The room spins. My skin burns. My hands shake. But I don't scream. I don't cry. I smile. And my mother narrows her eyes. What's so funny? I look at the charred mess on the carpet, then back at her. That, I say slowly, wasn't the real check. They all stare at me, stunned. The lawyer shifts in his chair, clearing his throat. She's correct. That was a ceremonial copy Mr. Donovan included for presentation purposes. The real check and wire transfer authorization is already with the bank. My father turns crimson. My mother's jaw drops. Dylan curses under his breath. I don't say another word. I just turn and walk out the door, letting their silence crash behind me like a wave. Outside, the sun is shining. The same sun that used to stream through Grandpa's study window while we played chess for hours. He always told me to plan 5 moves ahead. And I did. I don't look back when I leave the law office. I don't need to. The gasps, the angry footsteps, the way Dylan muttered something like spoiled little freak under his breath before I exited. It's all noise now, noise from people who've spent their whole lives pretending I didn't exist until today. I sit in my car, close the door gently, and let myself breathe. For the first time in what feels like years, I'm not swallowing rage. I'm tasting freedom. I glance at the envelope still tucked safely in my purse, the real check, backed by the transfer papers and a private letter. Grandpa left just for me. His words echo now. They'll try to burn it, they'll try to bury you. But ashes don't scare the wind. I let the words settle, then start the engine. I don't head home. I head straight to the bank. It's not about the money, I remind myself again. And it's not. But it is about what the money means. Power, choice, independence, something my parents worked hard to keep from me all my life. They liked me dependent, easy to shame, easier to silence. Not anymore. When I step into the private banking suite, the manager already knows who I am. Miss Donovan, she says with a polite smile. Mr. James Donovan set everything up before his passing. We've been expecting you. She walks me through the paperwork, all of it signed and witnessed by Grandpa weeks before his death. The transfer is clean, legal, final, and it's already done. You now have full access, she finishes, sliding over a leather folder and a small black credit card with my name embossed in gold. I stare at it. Mara Donovan. No titles, no conditions, just me. Outside, I walk to the parking garage slowly. I'm not ready to go home yet, not to the crummy apartment I've been scraping by in while my family sipped champagne. I end up at a small coffee shop on the corner of 7th and Ash, the one Grandpa and I used to go to after his doctor appointments. I sit at our favorite window booth and order his usual drink, hazelnut latte, extra foam. Then I open the letter. Mara, if you're reading this, it means I've already made my final move. And if I know your parents, they probably tried to undo it. But you're smarter than all of them combined. You always have been. This money isn't a gift. It's a tool. Use it to build. Use it to protect yourself. Use it to become so powerful they can never reduce you again. I trust you. Love, Grandpa. My fingers tremble slightly, but I don't cry. Not here. Not now. I sip the latte and pull out my notebook. My mind is already racing. They'll come after me. Of course they will. My parents are proud and calculating. Dylan is entitled and cruel. None of them are going to take this lying down. I saw it in their faces, the disbelief melting into rage as the lawyer confirmed that I, the forgotten daughter, held the real check, the real power. They will want it back. They'll say I stole it. That I manipulated Grandpa. That I'm unstable. They'll try anything. But what they don't know is that I've already started building my defense. I've kept every text, every email. The one where Mom called me a drain on the family name. The time Dad forwarded a memo trying to legally block me from using the Donovan title on my resume. Even Dylan's messages, cruel little taunts, sometimes threats. Every last piece of it is stored. And I've got a lawyer of my own now. A good one? One Grandpa paid for in advance. Later that night, I finally walk into my apartment. The place looks smaller now, like it belongs to someone else. There's a voice message on my phone. I don't even have to check the caller ID. I press play. Mara, it's Mom. We need to talk about what happened today. I don't know what your grandfather told you, but this isn't right. That money, it's meant for the family, for legacy. You know how hard your father worked for this name? Call me back. No apology, no acknowledgement, just a rerun of her usual script. I delete the message. Then my phone rings again. This time, I answer. Wow, Dylan says on the other end, his voice bitter. You must feel real powerful, huh? I stay silent. You're gonna screw it up, you know. You think Grandpa picked you because you're better? He pitied you. Mara. He saw what a sad little mess you turned into and thought throwing money at you would fix it. Click. I hang up. I stare at the wall for a long moment. Then I walk over to my closet and pull out the duffel bag that's been sitting in the back for years. My someday bag. The one I packed after college when I dreamed of starting fresh in another state, before my parents convinced me I'd never survive on my own. I unzip it and start packing. Not to run, to rise. The next morning, I return to the estate. They didn't know I had a spare key. I walk through the marble foyer, echoing with memories and silence. No one's home, probably out scrambling to figure out how to spin what happened yesterday. I go to Grandpa's study. The room still smells like old books and pipe tobacco. I sit in his leather chair, and for the first time I open the drawer he once told me never to touch until the day I'd need it most. Inside, a flash drive, a sealed envelope, and a folder labeled Leverage. The folder is thick, cream-colored, slightly dusty, sealed with a red wax stamp, the kind I thought only existed in movies. I brush my fingers across the word etched in Grandpa's unmistakable cursive. Leverage. It smells like old wood and secrets. I don't hesitate. I peel back the seal and open the cover. The first thing I see is a list of names. Lawyers, accountants, board members. Then, photos, documents, printouts, emails, handwritten notes. It's all meticulously arranged and labeled. I feel my heart start to race. I expected something. A letter, maybe. Some private financial accounts. But this is war-grade information. Pages of backdoor dealings, questionable business transactions, and expense reports. All tied to my father and Dylan. Offshore accounts. Fake charitable write-offs. Unreported income. A few printed email threads show Dad using company funds for personal vacations. Dylan siphoning corporate bonuses through a shell company. Grandpa knew, and he kept everything. There's a handwritten sticky note tucked between pages. Mara, only use this if they try to ruin you. This isn't revenge. It's insurance. I lean back in the leather chair, stunned. I knew Grandpa never trusted them fully. But I didn't know he'd prepared this thoroughly. The flash drive is labeled the same. Backup. Use with care. I slip it into my bag, alongside the folder. They thought they burned the only thing of value I had. But they had no idea. They were sitting on the matchbox. That night I meet with my lawyer. Grandpa's lawyer, really. A woman named Eloise Kerr, sharp as a dagger and just as polished. We sit in a sleek downtown office with frosted windows and coffee no one actually drinks. I slide the folder across the table. She opens it slowly, expression unreadable, but her eyes move quickly. After 10 minutes, she looks up and whistles low. "This is a bomb," she says. I nod. "Do you want to use it?" she asks. I stare out the window. "Only if I have to." She taps her pen thoughtfully. "You might have to sooner than you think." She's right. Because the next morning, my name is in the headlines. Harris, unstable. Donovan family concerned over sudden inheritance transfer. Sources say James Donovan's granddaughter was manipulated into financial power. It's my mother's signature spin, passive-aggressive concern wrapped in PR-approved language. My face, plucked from some old social media post, sits under a headline implying I'm a fraud. The photo is 3 years old. I was crying in it. They want me to look weak, wounded, broken. But that's their mistake. Because I've never been clearer in my life. I respond the next day, not with a press release, not with a denial, but with a donation. A quiet, documented, tax-transparent gift of $1 million to the Children's Literacy Initiative, Grandpa's favorite cause. I include a handwritten note in his exact style of language. From Mara Donovan, in memory of a man who believed stories could save lives. The media picks it up. The narrative begins to wobble. Then I buy back a historic art gallery on 4th and Main, the same one that refused my application as a curator 2 years ago after my parents redirected their support to Dylan's real estate venture. I buy it outright. Renovate it. Name it the James House. My inbox floods with interview requests. Granddaughter steps into grandfather's footsteps. Becomes the new angle. But I still say nothing publicly. Let them talk. Let them wonder. I found something more satisfying than headlines. Control. And just when I think they might back off, they escalate. I come home one night to find a legal notice taped to my apartment door. My parents are contesting the will, claiming undue influence, that Grandpa wasn't of sound mind when he signed it. It's laughable, and also terrifying. Eloise is already drafting the counterfiling before I even hand her the paper. This is desperate, she says. But they're playing it like a long game. Expect depositions, court delays, the works. I'm ready, I tell her. They're not the only ones who know how to build a case. I show her the flash drive. She smiles. Good girl. I decide to pay them a visit. I don't call ahead. I just show up at their estate. The one I used to sneak out of just to feel like I had my own air. The house looks the same, but I don't. I ring the bell. The butler, Harold, still remembers me. He hesitates, then lets me in. My mother is sitting in the solarium, sipping tea with her usual fake elegance. My father stands at the window like a king, waiting for a siege. Dylan is nowhere to be seen. My mother looks up. Oh, you're actually brave enough to come here in person, I smile. I thought it was time. My father doesn't move. You're making a mistake challenging this family. I walk closer, hands in my coat pockets. You made the mistake the moment you tried to erase me. We were protecting you, my mother says, rising from her seat. You've never been strong enough for this level of responsibility. I lean in just slightly, lowering my voice. That's fun. Because the court filings suggest you're terrified I'll succeed. My mother's expression tightens. My father finally turns around. You're not walking away from this with our legacy, he says. We'll bury you before that happens. I smile again. You'll try, but Grandpa left me with a map and a torch. I hand them each a copy of an email from Dad's account about tax fraud, dated last year. Their faces drop. Keep pushing, I say quietly, and I'll light the match. Then I turn and walk out, heart pounding, hands still trembling slightly, but freer than I've ever been. I'm not burning bridges, I'm just making sure they can't build any more on top of me. I don't hear from them for 3 days. No calls, no press attacks, no legal notices, just silence. That should terrify me, but it doesn't. Silence from my family doesn't mean surrender, it means planning. Plotting, rearranging the knives on the table, and waiting to see who flinches first, so I stay ahead. I meet with Eloise again, and we finalize the legal countermeasures. She files a cease and desist against my parents' smear campaign. We prepare a motion to dismiss their will contestation. The evidence Grandpa left is so ironclad. It's almost poetic. Still, I don't relax, because when it comes to my parents, the quiet is never peace. It's a trap door. I return to the James house, the gallery I bought, to find that someone has broken in. They didn't take anything. They just trashed the interior. Sculptures knocked over, paintings slashed, my desk upended, a single word written in red spray paint on the far wall. Thief. I stand there in the wreckage for a long time, feeling the weight of every broken shard of glass crunching under my feet. The police take a report. No cameras, no witnesses, but I don't need evidence. I know who did it, or who sent someone to. It's a message. They want me to feel like a fraud, to crawl back, apologize, surrender the inheritance like it's all been some big misunderstanding. But what they don't know is, every time they push, they make me louder. I rebuild. And this time, I document everything. Photos, insurance claims, interviews with the local news about vandalism and the resilience of legacy. The story runs with a side-by-side image of Grandpa in front of his first company, and me standing in front of the ruined gallery, holding one of the only intact paintings in my arms. The caption reads, Donovan Legacy, Reimagined. They can try to break my windows, but they can't touch the foundation. 2 weeks later, I get an invitation. It's from Dylan, a handwritten card. Messy, aggressive script. The words jump off the page like a threat disguised as nostalgia. Let's talk. Just us. No lawyers. No drama. You owe me that. He asks to meet at Grandpa's old lake house, the one no one had visited in over a year. I shouldn't go. Every cell in my body says don't. But I do, because some confrontations aren't about closure. They're about clarity. The lake house hasn't changed. Still perched on that quiet cliff, still echoing with memories of chessboards and wood smoke. Dylan's already there, sitting on the porch steps with a bottle of whiskey in hand. He doesn't stand up when I arrive. Thought you wouldn't show, he said. I almost didn't. He nods, staring out at the water. They're losing it, you know. I know. He laughs bitterly. They're acting like you're some corporate supervillain, like you cast a spell over Grandpa or something. I fold my arms. And what do you think? He finally looks at me. You don't belong in their world, but you might have belonged in his. It's the closest thing to a compliment I've ever gotten from him. I sit down beside him, but I don't touch the drink. You came all this way, I say. So talk. He sighs, running a hand through his hair. I didn't come here to fight. I just wanted to know why you. That hurts more than it should. But I answer honestly. Because I listened. Because I didn't want the power. I wanted the person. He looks away. Silence stretches between us. I miss him, he says quietly. So do I. That moment, real and raw, doesn't last. Because 2 days later, the family files a second lawsuit. This time claiming Grandpa was mentally unfit when he signed the final version of the will. They're pulling out the big guns now. Medical records. Character witnesses. A doctor my father conveniently paid for last year. But they weren't expecting what I have. A video. The flash drive. Grandpa left me. It includes a recording. Him, sitting in his study. Calm. Clear. Sane. If anyone's watching this, it means someone's trying to erase my choice. So let me be clear. I, James Donovan, am of sound mind and body. And I am leaving the bulk of my estate to my granddaughter Mara. Not because of pity, not because of guilt, but because she's the only one I trust to carry something forward instead of simply holding it. I sit in Eloise's office and cry watching it. Not because I'm sad, but because I've never felt more seen in my life. We submit the video to the court. The judge immediately orders a delay on my parents' claim, requesting an independent evaluation of the will. And for the first time in weeks, my phone stays quiet. No more headlines, no more concerned family interviews, just silence. And this time, I think, maybe it means surrender. But I'm not waiting, because I'm done playing defense. I schedule an art exhibition at the James House, a public tribute to my grandfather. I name it Inheritance, not because of the money, but because of what he left behind in me. I unveil a sculpture I made from the debris of the gallery's vandalism: glass, wood, broken metal, reassembled into the shape of a phoenix. It catches the light perfectly. People come, donors, press, friends, strangers, and for the first time, I'm not my family's shadow. I'm my own legacy. The night of the exhibition feels like a rebirth. The James House glows under soft golden lighting. Art lines the walls, every piece carefully selected to echo a part of my grandfather's story and mine. The centerpiece, the phoenix sculpture I made from broken remnants of the vandalized gallery, stands beneath a spotlight. I can feel it breathing in the attention like it was meant to rise from those ashes. Guests come in waves. Some wear sleek black, others bold color. They whisper, they gasp, they cry. Not because they knew Grandpa, most didn't, but because they feel something real in the room, something earned, not inherited. At one point, I step out for air, and that's when I see them, my parents, on the sidewalk across the street, watching. My father is stiff, his arms folded across his chest. My mother stands like a statue beside him, her lips pulled into a thin, unreadable line. They're not dressed for the gallery. They're dressed for confrontation. But they don't come inside. They just stand there, judging, observing, silently admitting they weren't invited. For the first time in my life, I don't feel the need to cross the street and explain myself. I go back inside, and I speak. I take the mic in the center of the gallery, clearing my throat as the crowd quiets down. A podium wasn't part of the plan. This moment wasn't either, but suddenly I need it. Not for them. For me. For most of my life, I begin. I was taught that legacy belonged to the loudest voice in the room, that whoever had the firmest grip on power or reputation would be the one remembered. I pause, scanning faces. No cameras. Just people. But my grandfather taught me something different. He said legacy is about impact, not volume. About how you carry people when they're gone. How you make the world better, not just richer. There's a long beat of silence, then applause. Not thunderous, but warm, honest. And just like that, I know I've crossed some invisible threshold. 2 days later, I receive the final ruling. The will stands. The judge confirms the video, the backup documentation, Grandpa's long history of legal and mental clarity. Every challenge my parents filed is rejected. The estate is fully transferred. My share is untouchable. The $38 million? Mine. The gallery? Fully protected under the foundation Grandpa helped establish before he died. And as for the rest, I'm just getting started. The next thing I do isn't flashy. It's private. I meet with Eloise in her office, a quiet Tuesday morning, and we finalize a new legal clause. I take a deep breath and sign the papers. I create a charitable trust in Grandpa's name. Half the estate goes into it. Non-revocable, non-transferable, set to fund education programs, art therapy centers, and emergency grants for at-risk youth across the state. All in his name. All in his spirit. It's not about generosity. It's about power with purpose. And it's something my parents can never undo. Of course, they try to twist it. A week later, another article appears. Donovan Harris dismantles family fortune. Insiders suggest rash philanthropy decisions are driven by personal guilt. I laugh when I read it. They still think everything I do is about them. They don't realize they're just background noise now. But not everyone is noise. A letter arrives in the mail, handwritten, shaky script. It's from one of Grandpa's old employees, someone who worked with him back when he first started his company out of a dusty garage. The letter is short, simple. He talked about you all the time, Mara, said you reminded him what mattered. I just wanted to say, he was proud of you. So am I. I don't cry often these days, but I do then. Dylan tries to reach out again. This time it's a voicemail. I'm not calling to fight. I'm calling because I guess I wanted to say you proved me wrong. You're doing something real. I didn't think you had it in you. But you do. I don't know how to respond, so I don't. Not yet. Some wounds need time before they're worth the risk of reopening. But I save the message. Because maybe someday, when the dust fully settles, we can start again. Not as siblings, but as humans. Weeks go by. The gallery thrives. The trust starts its first round of grants. My name becomes attached to things I never thought I'd touch. Not out of vanity, but out of vindication. Because every time I walk through those gallery doors, past the sculpture built from shattered glass and rage, I remember one thing Grandpa told me that I've never forgotten. What they burn doesn't define you. What you build does. They burned the check, but they never saw the blueprint. And now, I'm building something they'll never be able to erase. The Donovan name used to make me flinch. Not anymore. Now, when people say it, they say my name next. Maura Donovan. It's strange how quickly things shift when you stop apologizing for being the wrong kind of heir. The gallery is more than thriving. It's become a movement. The James House is hosting a traveling exhibit now, one curated by young artists from marginalized communities. We call it Second Draft, because that's what most of us are. People someone else tried to erase before we got to write our story. I see a girl, maybe 17, standing in front of one of the charcoal portraits. Her eyes are glassy. She doesn't know I'm watching, but I know what's happening. She's seeing herself for the first time. That, more than the money, more than the press, more than the headlines, that is the inheritance I wanted. But even as things grow, my parents don't stop. They've gone quiet again, which, like always, is more dangerous than noise. Then one morning, a letter arrives. This time, it's not a threat. It's an invitation to the 45th annual Donovan Foundation Gala, the legacy charity my parents have used for decades as a publicity tool and tax shelter. The envelope is cream-colored, heavy, embossed. Inside, a handwritten note in my mother's signature script. We believe it's time the family appears united again, for optics. If nothing else, for optics. It's such a perfect sentence I almost laugh. It's not an apology, not a request, just manipulation dressed in formal wear. Still, I say yes, not for them, but because some rooms need to be walked through, not avoided. The gala is everything I remember and everything I've outgrown. Champagne towers, polished lies, applause on cue. I walk in wearing a black satin gown with a sapphire pendant that used to belong to my grandmother, something Grandpa left me in a separate envelope with a simple note. She wanted you to have this. She knew before I did. The moment I enter the ballroom, I feel eyes on me. Whispers follow like perfume trails. There's the real Donovan, the one they didn't invite for years, and now can't afford to ignore. My parents are at the center table. Of course they are. They wave me over with tight smiles and even tighter egos. My father stands as I approach. "You look powerful," he says, carefully choosing his words. My mother links her arm through mine like we're old friends. "Shall we pretend to be functional for the cameras?" I don't even flinch. I've learned that pretending doesn't mean surrender. It means control. So I nod, let the flashes catch us, and then excuse myself, because what they don't know is that I've already spoken to the board of the Donovan Foundation, and I know something they don't. The board wants change. Over the past few months, I've had quiet lunches and late-night calls with several members, people tired of watching a once noble organization become a vanity project, people who remember what it used to be, what Grandpa built. And with their backing, tonight I announce the creation of a new branch, the James Donovan Initiative, independent, fully funded, focused on real impact, not red carpet events. And I do it right there at the podium after the champagne toast. You should see their faces. My father's jaw tightened. My mother clutches her wine glass so hard I think it might crack, and I smile, because this is what power really looks like. Purpose. Afterward, my mother corners me in the hallway near the bathrooms. So elegant. "What do you think you're doing?" she hisses. "Hijacking our event? Our name?" I look at her, calm and unmoved. "No," I say. "I'm reclaiming what you tried to steal from both of us." She blinks. "Excuse me? You gave up integrity a long time ago, Mother. I'm just picking up the pieces. You'll regret this." I tilt my head. I used to regret a lot of things, but not anymore. Later that night, as I ride home in the car alone, I hold the sapphire pendant in my hand. It's warm. Not from the lights or my skin, but from something deeper. Resolve, maybe. Or peace. The next morning, the papers run it. Donovan Air launches independent initiative, pushes for transparency and reform. Some call it rebellion, others call it brave, but I call it necessary. Because here's the truth my family never understood. They thought burning that check would ruin me, that by destroying the paper, they destroyed the promise. But what they really did was free me from their control, their shame, their legacy of vanity. What they burned wasn't the money, it was their last claim on my life. The headlines slow down, the letters stop coming, even the smears fade. It's like my parents finally realized they can't outmaneuver someone who stopped playing their game. I don't celebrate it with noise. I celebrate it with peace and quiet. And the James Donovan Initiative becomes more than a name. It becomes a network. Within a year, we've launched 6 programs in underserved schools, opened 3 art therapy centers, and sponsored dozens of scholarships under Grandpa's name. At each ribbon cutting, I wear the sapphire pendant. And every time someone asks where it came from, I just smile. From someone who believed in second chances, I say. I don't hear from my parents much anymore. Not directly. They've retreated into their usual world, silent galas, polite charity, polished lies. But their eyes follow me when I'm in the news, when the foundation wins awards, when I'm featured in a segment titled, "The Heir Who Rewrote Her Inheritance." They can't ignore it. They can't erase it. They can only watch it grow. One day, out of nowhere, Dylan sends me a letter, not a text, not an email, a real letter. Handwritten, no venom, no pride, just honesty. I didn't understand at first. I thought you were taking something that wasn't yours. But now I see you didn't take it. You carried it. You kept it alive. And I think maybe that's what Grandpa saw in you. I hope someday we can talk without all the noise. I reread it twice. Then I put it in the same drawer where I keep Grandpa's flash drive. One day, I'll answer it. But not yet. Healing doesn't rush. As the year turns, I return to the lake house for the first time alone. The same house where Dylan and I last spoke. The wind rustles the trees just like it did when I was little, sneaking upstairs with a flashlight and a dream. I sit on the porch with a thermos of coffee staring at the water. No cameras, no parents, no expectations, just me and the quiet. And for once, the silence doesn't feel like waiting. It feels like peace. I remember something Grandpa said once, when I was 11 and we were fishing. People think legacy is about who remembers your name, but it's about who remembers your kindness, who feels stronger because you believed in them. That's the only currency that doesn't burn. I didn't understand it then, but I do now. Because what they tried to burn, that $38 million check, wasn't the real inheritance. The real gift was what he saw in me, what he trusted me to carry, and what I've now passed on. Years from now, someone will walk into a school we helped fund, or see a gallery piece created by a kid we believed in, and they'll feel it. Not my name, not the drama, but the echo of something real. And that's the kind of wealth they never saw coming.